All righty. Hey guys, it's Friday night. We're back in the man cave. We've got a special guest with us tonight. Uh, this is Tom Horsman, and I was hoping to get Tom on here tonight to talk about this Kettle Joe project. And man, we were close. We were running into some technical difficulties right here at go time, but I see Tom got it ironed out, and everything looks good. I'm going to post a link here on the bottom of the screen that is Tom's YouTube channel link. Tom, uh, you going to have a drink with me tonight?
You betcha. After all that, you doggone right I need one.
Well, I'm trying something new tonight. I picked up this bottle of Henry McKenna single barrel. It's some kind of award-winning whiskey that I talked about bypassing last week, and my friend Stephen Hickey recommended that I go back and get that. So I did. I'm going to try to. Well, the tab just tore on it, so I'm going to see if I can get into this bottle, and I'm going to pour a couple fingers of this. And while I do that, I'd like for you to introduce yourself. Tell everybody where you are and who you are.
Well, let's start off with what I've got on here tonight. I am from Wisconsin, so there is a beer here in Wisconsin called Spotted Cow, and it's made by New Glarus Brewing. It's out by Madison, Wisconsin. Only sold here in Wisconsin. It's a very, very good beer. A lot of people. I visited family and friends in other states, and they always, one of the first things, can I bring anything? And they always say, hey, can you bring me a case of Spotted Cow? So my name's Tom Horsman. I am in southeastern Wisconsin, just south of the Milwaukee area, and I started YouTube here about, a whole bunch of years ago. It was kind of a dare for my wife and kids saying, you know, Dad, you should do YouTube. And I thought it was just a joke, and I started doing little clips and didn't know what I'm doing, and to the extent I still don't. But I'm just an amateur on YouTube, and I collect grills, and I enjoy doing putting together grills and doing reviews on grills, and I enjoy cooking. And I tell you what, and it's gone so far as now my oldest son Brian. Mad Horse Barbecue on YouTube. Check him out. He's got his channel, and he's really the culinary expert of our family. He does some phenomenal stuff. But Dad here, Dad just does the grill thing. You're looking at it right now. The land of grills right there, and I enjoy doing what I'm doing. This is just a hobby for me. And when I stop enjoying what I'm doing here, then I'll stop doing it. But for right now, I get a big kick out of doing this. I enjoy doing the YouTube thing, and I enjoy answering everybody's questions. It's just, for me, it's a fun thing to do. And
Well,
John,
that's awesome.
I really appreciate you having me on, man. That's really nice.
Yeah, no problem. You were the first person that came to my mind when I decided to try to find somebody to come on with me and talk about the Kettle Joe. And the reason I wanted you specifically for this is because you've got a lot of experience with the Weber kettle, and I'm fully aware of that. You've got more experience with the Weber kettle than I do. I started out on the Weber kettle in the Weber Smoky Mountain before I dove headfirst into the Kamado world. And when I saw that you had this grill, I started following your videos that you were doing on it and talking about it. And cheers, by the way.
Cheers.
So what I'd like to dive into tonight is an in-depth discussion about what this grill is. And I want to look at it through two different sets of lenses. And part of the problem I'm having is I'm trying to figure out exactly what this grill is. Is this a metal Kamado grill, or is it a Kamado shaped kettle grill? Do you understand what I'm saying there?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, it's there. It has some of the strengths and weaknesses of both, and I want to talk about those. And the first thing I want to do is I'm going to run some pictures up here on the screen,
Okay.
and give our audience here a brief look at this Kettle Joe. This is looking down into the Kettle Joe with nothing in it. This is like the base of the Kamado grill, and what you're seeing there is just it has nothing in it. So the next thing that happens is down in the bottom of that you have an ash pan, an ash collection pan, just like the ash collectors that are in the current Kamado Joe line, and that ash drawer slides out through the bottom vent here, as you can see on the front side of the grill. You just have to reach in there and grab it, pull it out, dump it, and stuff it back in there. And the next piece of this grill is the charcoal / fire basket. And this is where it starts to break away from the configuration of a typical kettle grill, and the fact that your fire grate here down in the bottom, this circular piece down here in the bottom is a 9-inch diameter. The charcoal grate on a Weber kettle, on a 22-inch Weber kettle, is an 18-inch diameter grate. And once you move away from this 9-inch center, you've got these sloped sides for this charcoal basket. And the next piece that really differentiates this from the kettle is in that firebox, these ceramic pieces fit. And this configuration gives this grill some heat retention capabilities that are a little more extensive than you have in a regular kettle grill like a Weber. And with this is two Half Moon grill grates that fit in here, and this is a 22-inch diameter grilling surface. It's just in two pieces, and that's a picture of it sitting directly on top of the charcoal basket. And you can have a high and a low here. You can have one down low and the other one up high. That's another different piece than you have in a Weber. You can have them both in the high position. And this is kind of what the grill looks like in a standard grilling configuration. And then when you move on to the back, well, that's another picture. The back side of this grill, the lid is on a hinge. So the lid does not separate from the grill. And that hinge loosens up, and you can raise it up and lock it into place here, where you can set the slow roller attachment onto this grill. And then you put your grill grate or your slow roller centerpiece in, put your grill grates on, and then this guy's ready to cook low and slow. It's just a different configuration than the kettle. And I wanted to start out by just letting you tell me what you think about this grill so far. You have done several cooks on it. I've seen your videos, and just tell me what you think about it on its own to start with.
Well, I guess the only reason I bought this grill was because of the slow roller. And when I saw the description of hyperbolic cooking chamber, I said, well, I gotta have me one of those. So if it wasn't for the slow roller, I would have never bought it. My thoughts on it, I'm still thinking about it. I haven't made my mind up on it yet. I've cooked on it. I've taken it and put it on the slow roller on Weber kettle and cooked on it. And to be honest with you, I think I even said this in the video. I'm not really even sure that the Weber kettle by itself would have turned out the same. And I've only done one cook using it on the Weber kettle, but it's really hard to say. There's a lot of pluses there. I love that charcoal basket. I love the fact of the ceramic brick around there, a thermal mass. It brings the Kamado into the kettle. But you still have a kettle.
Right.
You can take the slow roller off and use it like a normal kettle. You know, you can put the slow roller on and use it indirect, but you know, you could do indirect on a Weber kettle too.
Right.
So yeah, is this, you know, I still haven't found that one thing, that aha moment where you say, aha, this is why this thing is so great. I haven't found that yet. I think it's cool. I think maybe the possibilities I haven't found yet. But I like the construction. I love the legs. They're very sturdy legs. You know, the cap, I like it. That basket with the bricks in it. Yeah, you can kind of modify that to fit a Weber kettle, so that's kind of cool too. The slow roller, obviously, you can put on a Weber kettle. So there's a lot of things going on to it. If this wasn't 22-inch, and you couldn't take some of it off and put on a Weber kettle, I don't think it would sell very well on its own, especially at the price point. You know, they're kind of trying to say, you know, this could be, you know, if you want to save some money and get yourself your first Kamado, this is it. But yeah, it's kind of pricey. If you want to get yourself first Kamado, go over to Char Griller and get yourself an Acorn. That's $300, and you'll be able to do something. Like, you know, it won't be, you know, I've got one. I've had two of them in my lifetime, and I've got a Vision ceramic, and I once had a Primo XL oval. You know, so I know a little bit about Kamados. I just I need to cook on it more. I really do. And like I said, I haven't had that aha moment. I think it's cool. I think it's cool to say, hey man, I got a hyperbolic cooking chamber on my grill. What do you got? You know,
Yeah.
because nobody could say that. You know,
I saw that you had done a video with the slow roller on the kettle, but I haven't watched that video yet.
Yeah.
What did you cook?
I did a pork roll. I took two pork tenderloins, beat them thin, stuffed some cheese and some pepperoni, wrapped it up, and did a bacon weave on top of it, and put that in the middle. You know, it turned out fine. And did
you see any
smoke in the bacon? Yeah, it was smoky, and it cooked just fine, and it was pretty even. They talk about how it cooks more even. Yeah, I'll agree. It cooks more even. Did it? You know, those pictures you showed shows how black it makes everything. And you know, I had put a pie tin underneath the heat diffuser with some water in it just to catch some of the grease. And I actually have black soot dripping out of the lip of the grill, and I actually opened up the vent all the way on the top to try and get some of that steam out of there, so I didn't have so much soot in there. But it's just amazing how it almost makes me think it burns somewhat unclean. You know, if you look at those pictures that you just showed, you show how black it gets. And mine was that black after first cook. When I did the second cook, I bet you I spent an hour and a half washing it just so I could show it as brand new and nice and clean.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm like I said, I think
I'm guilty here. Those pictures, I made those pictures this morning, and I cooked a pork butt on that grill yesterday, and the only cleanup I did after doing that pork butt was scraping down the grill grates.
Yeah.
I cooked almost a 10-pound butt yesterday and made a video. I made my first video yesterday using that grill. I published it today on the Atlanta Grill Company YouTube channel and Facebook page, doing the butts. Now, talking about the slow roller itself, what you said about it cooking more evenly, that's where I am with the slow roller. On the Kamado, that was the very first thing I noticed about the slow roller on the Classic 3 when I got it. The first cook I did with the slow roller on the Classic 3 was a whole chicken, because I wanted to cook hot, and you know, I like to cook whole chickens up about 450, and I believe that I'm getting I'm getting better convection inside the grill with that slow roller. And the whole chicken I did, the results were so great, in my opinion. I immediately did another one to make sure that it wasn't a fluke, and I got the exact same results on the second one. So yeah, I do believe I'm getting better convection with the slow roller. I think this setup definitely has some advantages for indirect cooking. in my opinion, based on my experience with the Weber kettles so far, that is the biggest advantage I see. I think it's been a long time since I've done a lot of cooking on a Weber, but the Weber, the Weber's a smaller. But the base and the dome combined on the Weber is a lower volume space than what we have here. But the indirect setup on a Weber takes a little bit more work. And Kamado Joe they're planning, as far as I know, their game plan is to make that slow roller setup available as an add-on or as a third-party add-on for Weber grills. I don't know when that's coming. I don't know what the price on it's going to be, but yeah, the Kettle Joe's $4.99. It's $500. It's more expensive than the most expensive configuration you can buy for a Weber kettle. I think the Weber kettle or the Weber, what do they call their premium one that's on the rolling cart and it's got the start assist?
Summit.
Not the Summit.
Oh,
this
okay.
this is not in the same class as the Summit.
Okay.
It's the Weber. Is it the Prestige?
I don't know.
It's the one that's like it's like $429 or $449.
Yeah, there's a One Touch. There's a Platinum.
It might be the One Touch or the Platinum, but it's on the rolling cart. But that whole assembly is still less expensive. Yeah. The thing about the Weber kettles is it doesn't really matter which Weber kettle setup you buy. The grill itself is the same. The $119 Weber kettle is the same bowl and dome that you get on the $450 one. It's the stuff that comes around it and attached to it.
Those, the legs are the holes for the legs are on the bottom, so you know what they are.
Right. Yeah. Even the one that's mounted on the cart still got the leg holes. It's a single mold. They haven't retooled everything. Everything's cross compatible with everything else. I have some things that I don't like about the Kettle Joe when I compare it to the Weber kettle, and I want to see what your thoughts are here.
Okay. All right.
Let me bring up another picture. Let's see which one is it? First of all, this is a minor problem. Did yours leak grease like this?
Yeah, there's a hole. You take that.
There's a hole behind the thermometer.
Yeah, there's a hole.
But that's going to be fixed.
Yeah.
The next batch of these things that come out, I have told that hole's going to go away. I'm getting some leaking up here at the top vent also.
Okay, I haven't had that.
That didn't happen until I did the butt cook. It took a longer greasy cook to make that happen.
Okay.
But that dripped on my deck. Sure. And down at where this top vent mates to the grill, sure, there's some air leaks. It's not airtight there, and it's blackening up around there. This is a little video clip that I made. That smoke's rolling out of that top vent, and that top vent's completely closed. It's,
really? Okay.
Yeah, it's not airtight enough. Okay. I'm having some difficulty doing low and slow below, 300 degrees because I can't. I was able to seal it up enough by putting some gasket material.
Yeah.
I put some Nomex between the dome or under the dome and on the base of the slow roller. Yeah, and with that, I was able to keep the temperature down around 250 at the low and slow. But to do that, I have to keep the top vent completely closed. The Weber, let me stop this. The Weber has that real simple little daisy wheel with the tab on it where you spin it. It's simple. It's not pretty by any means, but it's airtight. It'll allow, I could keep my Webers at 250 or below without a gasket. I never had a gasket on any of the Weber grills that I had, and I was still able to tame the fire. The difference being in the Weber, I would either use the charcoal baskets, the Weber charcoal baskets, and only have a handful of briquettes going. So you've got a smaller fire when you're doing low and slow in a Weber. Then it's harder to keep the fire small when you've got a firebox full of charcoal like you have here. But the next thing that I've run into some issues with, let me put this back up. This is the gasket I bought. I bought the Lava Lock gasket. It was a half-inch wide and 1/8 of an inch thick. I bought a 15-foot spool of it. Actually, I got 2 of them, but one of them's enough to do this whole thing. But right here, this picture, what I've done here in this photo is I had an old Weber charcoal grate. This is a Weber charcoal grate out of a 22-inch kettle that I no longer have, but I saved that grate, and now I'm glad I did, because what I can do here is I didn't make a picture, but I can set my my cooking grates on here now, and I've got an 18-inch wide flat spot to put charcoal. The difficulty that I've had doing 2-zone, I like to do 2-zone cooking. I do a ton of 2-zone cooking, and that's easy to do on a Weber kettle, because you've got this 18-inch surface underneath the grill grate. You can put charcoal on 1/2 of it and leave the other half empty for a perfect 2-zone setup. But on the Kettle Joe, if you look underneath that grate, I've got that 9-inch space down there, and this grill doesn't come with a firebox divider, so it's really kind of difficult to create a large enough hot zone to do any significant 2-zone cooking here. What do you, have you tried any, you haven't done any 2-zone yet with this thing, have you?
No, other than putting the slow and sear in there and using the slow and sear to do reverse sear stay. You know,
right.
I set the slow and sear, and it fit in there perfectly, and it actually did a pretty decent job. I set it right on top of the charcoal grate, the charcoal basket. It fit really, really nice. And then I used half grate on the one side to do my reverse sear, and then seared them on top of on the slow and sear. I know it's not meant for the slow and sear, but it worked.
Yeah, and oddly enough, I have a slow and sear. I have the original one, and I haven't had a chance to play with that in this grill yet. That might work out. I probably can give that a try. That would help with that, but I don't like the 2-zone configuration here. It just, if I had a firebox divider, even if I did have the firebox divider, I would have to fill that half of the charcoal basket all the way to the top with charcoal to get a large enough hot zone. If I wanted to sear 4 ribeyes on 1/2 of that grill, I would have to fill that charcoal basket full in order to get a hot enough searing zone to put 4 ribeyes on there and have direct heat underneath all of them. But with that 18-inch grate sitting up there, I can get away with that. I could dump a chimney full of charcoal on one side of that and do that job.
And the nice thing about putting the slow and sear in there is that it was right up underneath the grate. So
right.
When I went to do my sear, it was. In fact, I did cast iron. I did cast iron dripping griddle on top of it, and it was 700 degrees. It was smoking hot. And
this
shocked
18-inch,
the heck out of me. It really did.
Yeah, the 18-inch Weber charcoal grate, when it sits down there, it's not sitting on the handles of that firebox. It's sitting down a little lower. So in theory, you've got about, I don't know, maybe 1.5 or 2 inches between where your grate's going to sit and that charcoal grate.
Oh.
So if you were using briquettes, you could have a single layer of briquettes smoothed out over that and be real close to that grate right there as well. So that would, with the Weber charcoal grate, I think I could do some excellent 2-zone, but That's a requirement. And what is that? That grate's what, $25? I haven't bought one in years.
What do you mean, the Sloan sear?
No, the charcoal grate for the Weber,
Oh
a
yeah,
replacement.
I don't know.
They were like $20 or $25 to
Yeah.
buy that. The Slow and Sear is a lot more than that.
Oh yeah, the Sloan sear's a lot more.
I don't know what this is. Dave had given me the one that I have when they first came out, and I did a little video content with that, and I still have it. So yeah, I'll try it in here and see what that looks like.
It's got to be the one with the grates on the bottom. You can't have the open bottom, otherwise there's nothing for the charcoal to sit in. Because they have the Sloan sear that's open on the bottom, 100% open, and then they have the Sloan sear like I have that is closed, that's grated on the bottom.
I'd have to look at mine. It's been a long time since I looked at it.
Yeah.
So maybe it won't work. We'll figure it out. I think it had a grate in it. I don't remember.
Okay.
I'm still sipping on this McKenna. I'm trying to decide. This McKenna is it's the same grain bill that Elijah Craig's made from, and I'm really enjoying it. It won some kind of a big competition, which made the price of it double, and it also made it suddenly really hard to get. And it's sad in North Carolina. I don't know how it is in Wisconsin, but the state controls all of the alcohol sales when the alcohol content's above 18%. So the stores that sell this are all state owned and state run, so there's no bargaining with the distilleries.
Not here. You can walk into a grocery store and buy what you're.
Yeah, I'm jealous of you people that can buy whiskey at Costco.
Yeah, you can. Sam's Club.
So too. Yeah, Sam's and Costco. The first time I guess I've been naive until I got a little older. I think I was in my 30s and I was in New York, and I walked into a Wegmans grocery store in New York and I saw whiskey on the shelf. I said, "What the hell is this?" And I didn't realize. I think it was that long till I realized that you didn't have to buy. You could buy whiskey outside of what's called an ABC store here in North Carolina.
Yeah.
So, but South Carolina has a similar setup, and I don't know how Georgia. I don't think Georgia's the same way, but anyway. So in terms of, I guess once again the question I'm trying to figure out for myself is still trying to figure out. I'm having a hard time looking at this grill, trying to figure out what perspective I need to look at the grill from. I'm trying to decide: do I need to look at it like a kettle, or do I need to look at it like a Kamado? It behaves and is configured more like my Kamado grill, with the exception, there's a couple of things it doesn't come with, like it doesn't come with any kind of heat deflector, or charcoal box divider like the Kamado does. So those two elements make it hard to be a Kamado. So you said you had a vision.
Yep, still do.
How would you compare functionally the Kettle Joe and your vision?
I would compare them. I would compare the acorns. I would call the Kettle Joe an acorn, a charred grill acorn.
Right.
As compared, and the vision is a lot more solid.
Right.
We struggle, and I don't know about you, but I struggle to make that lid fit nice, and I play with that hinge a lot to make that hinge, I put a 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch gasket on my lid too, and it's still, boy, I monkey around with it every time I play with it. I bring it up to height, I get it on there, I loosen up the back thing, I play with it. I had some damage to mine. I'm waiting for a new bottom for mine because when it showed up, it was damaged. The bottom tabs where where the basket sits were all bent up. It got dropped at one point. So and I went back and forth with Kamado Joe on it because they said that wasn't because I showed them a picture of it, and they said, "Well, paint chipping isn't covered under warranty." And I said, "Oh, I'm going to give you another chance to review that."
Oh
And
yeah.
and stated that it was bent up, and then finally and that was 2 weeks ago now, and I still haven't received the new bottom yet. But maybe that has something to do with it. But I've struggled to get it tight. So I look at this as more of a acorn, an expensive acorn, as opposed to the Vision. It's bigger than the Vision. The Vision is only 18-inch, and this is 22. So there's, like I said, I've only done a couple cooks on it, and it's hard for me just to come out and say yay or nay on it just based on a couple cooks. I really need to get more comfortable with it. The whole slow roller thing, figuring that out, that is hyperbolic cooking chamber. That is something that I almost need a degree to figure out. But
Right.
I from what I've done on it, my first cook on it was a chuck roast, and I had one heck of a smoke ring, and it turned out just fine. And the way I keep going back to this is saying, well, can I do that? It's just on a regular rubber kettle without the slow roller. And a lot of times they come back with the answer of, yeah, I can. So
Right.
like I said, I think it's cool. And I'm going to keep on working on the cool factor and see if I can find what I said before, the aha moment where I go, aha, nobody else can do this.
What do you think about it aesthetically?
Oh, I think it's cool.
Yeah.
I think it's cool, man. You look at that thing, and you look at the slow roller on there and say, what the heck is going on there?
It does draw attention, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Everybody always asks, what is that thing? What's that
Well,
going on in there?
It looks like the Kamado Joe. It fits in the greater scheme of their look.
Yeah. Like I said, the coolness factor. You take that slow roller out of there, and I don't think it would sell. I don't think they'd sell anything. That slow roller is what makes this grill. The adjustable hinge. In theory, that's cool too. It doesn't work very well, but in theory, it's pretty damn cool. And
Do
having
you
the
use any
basket
electronics?
with the bricks in it, that's neat. I'd like to see that as an option to put in a Weber kettle. I think that'd be really cool in a Weber kettle.
Right. Do you use any electronics? Do you use any temperature probes or fan controllers?
Yeah, I've got an Inkbird. A cheaper one works great. I've used it in my Weber kettles, and I've got a Sloan Sear kettle too. I used it in there, and I like it a lot. Works very well. But they don't have a hole for it in here. But I know that Kamado Joe's got their own brand that fits right in the vent itself.
Well, it won't fit on this one.
It won't. Okay, answer that question.
Well, they don't have that surprised me as well, because I originally thought they wanted the iCommand to be able to work on this, but the iCommand, the mounts that work on the Classic or the Big Joe won't fit on this thing. So it requires a jury rigged mount, or they may produce a mount at some point, but currently it won't work. But the other problem, like you said, there's no hole to run there's no place to run a probe wire into this grill. I was really hoping that would make this as well, because so many people use those today. I use fan controllers because they simplify my job, and they help me keep things rolling. But with a probe wire, even with my gaskets here, when I run a temperature probe wire underneath that dome lid and set that gasket down on there, I can't stay under 310 or 320. I can't keep the temperature down even with, well, I take that back. With the gasket material there, I can keep it at about 290 or 300. Okay. Before I put the gaskets on, I was 330. I was running 330 was about as low as I could get it, with the top vent fully closed and the bottom vent, I don't know, a 1/16 of an inch cracked open. So that thing draws a lot of air, and that top vent's not airtight enough to stop the airflow. It's creating a chimney effect even with that top vent. I'd really like to see that top vent made more airtight. That's the problem I'm having looking at this thing. Is I'm looking at it from a viewpoint where I'm used to not having that problem. All of my other top vents seal up well enough that I can shut it down by, I can control the temperature. The original Kamado Joes, before they came to what they call the control tower top vent, that old daisy wheel top vent like the Big Green Egg has in the original Kamado Joe, those were more airtight than the control tower. Those were so airtight that I could control my temperature fully with the top vent or the bottom vent. I could leave one or the other fully open and control the temperature with the other one anywhere I wanted it from about 200 degrees up.
Nice.
That's this one's not like that, and I can't quite do that with my. Well, I take that back. I might be able to pull it off with the control tower if it's greased up enough, because it's more airtight when it's dirty. But what you were saying about the Acorn, I'm with you. It's probably a closer comparison. The Acorn was the first Kamado I ever had, and that's what actually got my YouTube channel off the ground. I was one of the first people to get some Acorn content on YouTube, and that really, I got lucky. I was in the right place at the right time with that grill, and that's what kind of got my YouTube channel going way back when. But this grill, in terms of being airtight, like you said, it's hard. It's hard to get a good fit, and the reason it's harder, I haven't tried it yet without the slow roller in there, but the slow roller is kind of doubling the effect. Your Weber kettle, you've only got one surface that's mating. Yep. On this thing, you've got two, and neither one of them are perfectly airtight, so you're kind of doubling the lack of airtight there. The gasket's something that I might play with some more. I bought 1/2-inch gasket, but I'm wondering maybe if a thicker gasket that comes all the way up to the edge of the lip and then wraps around the curve a little bit might seal it up a little more. Or maybe, does it need gaskets on both of the mating surfaces? You think that would help it?
All I've really seen issues with is where the lid fits. And you know what's funny though is that when I cooked with the slow roller on the Weber kettle lid fit really tight and really nice on the slow roller. And
yeah.
In fact, when I think I had it going for like 45 minutes, and when I went to pull off the lid, it almost took the slow roller with it. That's how tight
so
it was.
It's a tighter fit.
The Weber kettle lid fit better on the slow roller than the Kettle Joe lid fit on the slow roller. So, but that was without a hinge, so a lot of this can be without a hinge. If you take the hinge off and try and put the kettle, the lid on the slow roller, it fits pretty tight. Some of your issues are going to go back to that damn hinge. And that can hold and make things a little kittywampus on you.
One of the things I've run into a couple of situations where I felt that it didn't fit like it should, and all I've been able to do is I go back there and loosen that nut, and position my lid and then tighten the nut back up, and it seems to be okay. But the slow roller also is loose on the base. It will shift a little bit. It'll move. Maybe a quarter to an eighth to a quarter of an inch in any given direction when it's sitting there. So, but
I honestly think they have some manufacturing issues, because the bottom of mine fits tight, and it's my lid, and the top of the slow roller doesn't fit right. And if you look, there's some other stuff. If you look at this grill, like some of the finishes on the porcelain enamel isn't the nicest. Isn't as nice as a Weber kettle. So I think they're still working through. We talked about the hole underneath the temp gauge. I think they've got some manufacturing issues that they need to work out. This is the first run. So hopefully they'll improve it on the second run and the third run and work all the kinks out of it and make it a better grill. And maybe in the end it'll be just fine. But for right now, for what I got, I'm not 100% sold on it.
Right. So what else? Let's see. We talked about the lid fit. We talked about the air tightness of the top vent. Um, do you what do you think about the rolling cart?
I think the rolling cart is excellent. A great idea. It's sturdy. Very, very nice. Nicely
What
done. I like to see that on other grills.
what do you think about the weight and the portability of this thing? It's
I don't think.
heavier,
Yeah, yeah. To me, it's not a portable grill, unless you want to totally take it apart and take the basket out with. I have no intention. I didn't buy it to be portable.
right?
If you're looking for a portable kettle, get a wearer. This isn't.
Yeah,
This isn't something you're going to take to the ballpark on a weekend. You're going to take something else. This isn't. It isn't that. If we're talking about, we should talk about the bottom vent. And I also noticed that the ashtray, which is similar to what they have on the Kamados, uh, don't fit the best. I have to play
right.
around with the best. I have to play around with the metal that it fits in to make that situation, get it just right so you can pull it out. I've had some issues with that.
We've
Like I
got
said,
we got a question from a viewer here.
but
Anthony's on screen here. Can you see the on screen message that
yeah,
my wife's running the board here? He says we were talking about issues with consistent low temps, and he's asking you specifically about your experience with low temperature control on the Kettle Joe.
he's if it's Anthony, he's asking about temperature control. I think once you get it dialed in, I don't think you'll get it dialed in to what you want. I mean, we're always looking for 225. You're not going to get 225 on this thing. You can shut everything down, and you're not going to get 225. 250, 260 maybe on the low side, I found, with having the bottom vent just cracked, like just a quarter inch, and the top vent just open maybe a half an inch. I can maybe get that at 250. But if you're looking for 225, I haven't found it. Like I said, I've only cooked on it a couple of times, so I don't want to be 100% unfair to this grill yet because I haven't figured out all the nuances on it. But once you get it dialed in there, it holds temp. So whatever you get it dialed into, in my opinion, as long as you leave everything closed and aren't opening everything up every 5 minutes, it holds pretty good.
Right. Shane says the same thing we were just talking about here. He says that it isn't portable at all. The leg cart system screw into the base, and that's something that I'm in
Yeah.
agreement with. If that thing snapped in, or if you could disconnect the base from the stand, it would change the portability factor on that grill dramatically.
I don't think they made it to be a portable grill, did they?
No, I don't think they did either. I'm
Yeah.
not. I do not, and don't. I probably should have prefaced this by saying that I don't think it was made to be
No.
portable. But what I'm looking at is I don't think any of my Kamado grills are portable, and I'm
No.
throwing my Kamado Joe Jr. into that
Yeah.
same basket.
Yeah.
It's small. It weighs 65 to 75 pounds, but I don't like using that grill because the stand. I don't like cooking on my knees.
Yeah,
And
there you go.
if they had an upright stand where that grill could come with me and I could stand up and cook on it, it would be perfect. And Anthony's got another question here. It
Yeah, he
says
says
you can't even choke out the
the
fire.
Yeah, if you shut
I've
everything
I've
down,
been able to choke out my fire.
yeah, I have been too. You got to shut everything down and let it be, and
I can
choke
close the vents and
Yeah.
it will snuff out the fire. I don't know how long it takes it,
Yeah.
but I've snuffed it out and still had plenty of usable charcoal left in
Yep.
the firebox.
Yeah, my
when
first
that's
cook,
done.
I was able to do that. Does it stuff it out as fast as a true Kamado, ceramic Kamado? Probably not.
Probably not, but
Yeah.
it's. I haven't tried cooking in this thing with briquettes yet either, and that's something I want to do because I have a sneaky feeling that temperature control on this grill might be easier. Low temperature control might be easier with briquettes with a fan controller. And I've done some testing in my Kamado Joes in the past using briquettes. Briquettes do make a lot of ash, and that's the reason I don't like using briquettes in a Kamado. They for a really long, low and slow cook, they can make enough ash where it'll choke up your airflow and put your fire out. But I did quite a few years ago. I loaded up one of my original Kamado Joe classics with a full firebox of Kingsford, and I lit it. And the temperature. This was the first temperature controller I ever bought. It was a Barbecue Guru DigiQ2 DX with their Pit Viper fan. Are you familiar with that?
Yeah, I've seen them. Yeah.
Yeah, I put that on there, and I ran that grill at 225 or 250 degrees for like 34 hours with a fan on there. Even if the ash does choke your airflow, the fan is putting enough air into the firebox to keep the fire going. And briquettes don't burn as hot as lump does, and I'm wondering if a briquette fire might be easier to tame in this grill if you're using a temperature controller than lump. What do you think about that?
You definitely could try it. Like I said, I used briquettes when I used the Sloans here and there, and it worked. It worked, So, but you've got to do it more than once. You got to do it a couple times to dial things in. So, I always use B&B when it comes to briquettes, and I think they would work pretty nice.
Oh yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. I have never used B&B briquettes, but I've seen them.
You've got
I've heard they're amazing. Aren't those gaining a lot of favor on the State Cook-Off Association scene?
They are.
Yeah, those briquettes are physically larger than the Kingsfords, right?
Yeah, about 15 to 20% bigger.
Okay. Well, my local Academy Sports sells B&B, so I'm going to grab a bag of those next time I'm down there because I use briquettes in my PK grills. I've got the PK 360 and the new PK Go, and I don't mind using briquettes. Actually, for that kind of cooking, I get a way more even heat distribution with briquettes than I can with lumps. So, I'm gonna try. I've been meaning to try those. I'm glad that came up because I hadn't even thought about that lately.
You can also get B&B at Ace Hardware.
Okay, well I'll try that because I used to burn a lot of Kingsford when I was cooking in Weber's. Between the Weber kettle that I had, the Weber Smoky Mountain, and the ugly drum smoker, I burned through a lot of Kingsford. And for anybody here that uses briquettes, there's 3 times of the year to buy briquettes: Memorial Day weekend, the 4th of July, and Labor Day, because everybody's got the BOGO deals going on the bags, and you can get briquettes for 25 or 30 cents a pound, where they're normally about 50 or 60 cents a pound. But the B&B, I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna get a bag of those. Do you use more lump or do you use more briquettes in your
briquettes?
You use briquettes.
Yeah.
So when you're gonna cook a meal for you or your family or whoever you're cooking for, let's say you're gonna cook, I don't know, you're gonna cook ribeyes and baked potatoes. What's the grill you're gonna grab first? I know the reason I'm asking you that is because you've got more different kind of grills than anybody I know.
Oh man, it's all about time. It's all about time. If I don't have a lot of time, I'm gonna fire up a pellet grill, or I'm gonna fire up one of the Gravity series if I want charcoal.
Okay.
If I have time, then I will break out a Weber. And even if I'm trying to do fast, I'll go a smaller Weber. I'll go to the Jumbo Joe or the Smoky Joe and do 2-zone in there and do potatoes on one side and steak on the other side. So I mix it up a lot. There's no, everybody always asks me, what's my go-to grill? What's my go-to grill? I don't have a go-to grill. Whatever one I'm cooking on is my go-to grill.
Right. That's a question I get asked a lot. I don't have nearly the grills you've got. I mean, I just don't have as many. But I do now remember that you've got the Gravity series. I've got a Gravity 1050 out here. I had a 560.
Okay.
But later on I got the 1050 and I passed the 560 to a friend of mine. But now that I know that I remember that you have that grill, I want to ask you in advance if you'd be willing to come back on with me sometime and talk specifically about that grill.
Sure. Well, you know what? We can talk about that, but we can talk about the Char Griller Gravity Series too, because that's sitting right back there, brand new.
Oh, have you got one of those?
Just put it together today, man.
Yeah, well, that'd be awesome. I'd love to see that, because I saw that grill for the first time, I think last week on the Char Griller. I saw it pop up in my Facebook feed somewhere, and I looked at that and I said, I said, where have I seen this before?
Yeah.
I'm curious. I'm just curious about whether there's any kind of infringement going on there.
Well, you can't put a patent on gravity.
No, you can't.
Yeah.
That grill.
There's enough differences in them. Like I said, I just put it together today. There'll be a review on it tomorrow on my YouTube channel.
Well, that's perfect, because I want to hear your opinion on.
Oh yeah, I got lots of.
I want to hear your opinion on it compared to the Masterbuilt for sure. When I first saw the Gravity Series, I looked at that thing and I said to myself, okay, you've got the 560. That's what is that? That's $499, right? $500 grill.
Yeah, although they've been on sale, people keep showing me pictures of them getting in for $200 at Walmart.
And is it $699 or $799 for the 1050?
I can't remember.
Something like that.
560. I have the 560.
I'm looking at that thing.
The Char Griller 580 is 600.
This is a problem I've come across since Masterbuilt and Kamado Joe. Since Masterbuilt bought Kamado Joe, Kamado Joe is more of a premium product line that's selling to a different demographic than the typical Masterbuilt product line. Masterbuilt's customer is at Lowe's, Home Depot, and Walmart. Yep. Kamado Joe's are I don't know, they brought the original line of Kamado Joe's back, and they're selling that in some Lowe's and Home Depot now, I believe. But when I looked at that Gravity Series grill, I was totally blown away with the idea. I said, that's incredible. I said, I want one of those. And I didn't know how much it was. I saw the pictures of it before I had any idea what the prices on those grills were. And when I saw the price tags on those grills, I said, oh no. I said, this is going to be a big box store item. And I said, I'm not going to like it. It's not going to have any longevity. And after having cooked on both of them a good bit, the first thing that comes to mind for me is you just got to keep it dry. You got to keep it out of the weather. Don't let it get wet inside. But if that 1050 was a $1,500 or $1,600 or $1,700 build, that'd be a game changer.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so I want to have a whole conversation with you about the Gravity, and I'll keep my eyes open for your review on that Char Griller, because I am curious what you think about it, especially if you think it's better than the Gravity. I want to hear about that, because I keep telling people don't believe me when I say this, but the flavor profile I get when I cook on that Gravity is better than about anything else I've got.
Oh yeah, it's charcoal, man, and you can put wood in there. It is. It's totally different. Totally different. I called it a game. Last year when I did my previews on it on the Gravity Series from Masterbuilt, I call it a game changer.
Yeah.
There is no grill that does the low and slow, and you can literally turn it up to 650 and it's there in 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's really cool.
It's a high airflow, low efficiency fire. It's giving you the same kind of flavor profile you get out of a offset stick burner, but it's giving you a much wider temperature range than you can get out of anything like that. Yep. So yeah, I'll be looking for your video on the Char Griller, because I want to talk about that. I want to
perfect.
Maybe we'll have a whole maybe I'll get you, and we'll get a couple people in here. I tried to get a round table together one time and it kind of fell apart. We'll see if we can maybe make that happen and talk about the Char Griller.
Yeah.
Char Griller, my experience with char griller, it didn't start with the Acorn. Before I decided to get back into charcoal about 10 years ago, I had a char griller gas grill, and I really loved that little gas grill. It was a small gasser, and right shortly after I got that, I bought another Weber kettle, and I made steaks for my wife on the Weber kettle. And when I did that, that night is when my life changed, because she said, I don't care if you ever cook steaks on that gas grill again. So that's when everything went crazy. I started cooking on charcoal, cooking on the Weber. I bought the Weber Smoky Mountain, and then I started making YouTube videos. So I don't know that I'd ever started making YouTube videos on the gas grill. Do you have a gas grill in your collection?
Oh yeah, I've got a couple, and I've given away a whole bunch. I've got a Big Easy Smoker Roaster Grill that they don't make it anymore. That's the bigger one. That's the bigger one of the Big Easy series. And I also have a little Weber Q1200 that is so cool to cook on. If I after work fire it up, get it good and hot, pork chops on there, done in like 3 minutes. Because it gets up to 600 degrees really quick. So yeah, I mess around with gas, and it's all about convenience. That's
right.
That's what it's all about.
I've got the only gas grill I have here at the moment is the Napoleon, and speaking of that, I bought a toy. I bought a toy this week. I'm going to show you, because I think you need to be the guy to approach these people, get one of these, and do a review on it. Have you ever seen a gas gauge for a propane tank that's worth having?
No.
Okay. Look, this Mopica. I want you to look this up.
Okay.
Mopica. I bought this, and it just came in today. I haven't had a chance to play with it. This is a sensor. That magnetically mounts. There's 2 of them in here. I bought a 2-pack that mounts on the bottom rounded edge of your propane cylinder, and it monitors how much fuel is in there, and it connects. I think it makes a Bluetooth connection to this guy, which is just a full 3/4, half, 25% or empty gauge. But me being the geek that I am, I bought the Wi-Fi bridge where I can connect that thing to an app. And this thing will report in 1% increments of the level of fuel in your propane cylinder.
Okay.
This came up in another group, another cooking group I'm a part of. It's not a grilling or smoking group, but one of the guys posted about this in the group, and he put some screenshots from the app, because he's running propane in his camper in a 100-pound cylinder.
Sure.
And he is sold on how accurate this thing is and how great it works. And I've seen all kinds of things that you run in line with your propane that looks at the pressure. I've seen things that you use to weigh the tank with, but this thing sits on there, and if you buy this Wi-Fi bridge, you can monitor it with your telephone. But look these guys up, Tom, and see if you can get a hold of one of these. Mopica, Mopeka.
Okay.
Because you're the right guy to review this, to do a YouTube review on this. I don't think I'm going to do a review on it, but I'm going to see if I can get it working, because that's one thing I hate, is to walk outside to a cold gas grill after I've gone out there to preheat it. And that seems to happen to me occasionally. Look at my wife. My wife's put a comment up here. She says, if my husband can quantify, he's happy. I'm a numbers geek. I am. I'm OCD. So yeah, I bought this. I had some credit on Amazon, so I decided to throw it away on something that might just be something that's better than anything else I've seen so far. So we're going to try that.
How much is it?
I wish you hadn't asked me that. These two, this 2-pack, and Wi-Fi bridge. This was $140
Ooh, wow. Okay.
for what I have here in my hand.
Uh-huh.
There's some, but that's for a 2-pack and for the Wi-Fi bridge. I think a single. I think this was $89, and the rest of it was the Wi-Fi bridge. So
Okay.
they're on Amazon. So you can look up
check it
that
out.
brand name on Amazon. You'll find this stuff, and then they have their own website. But see if you can get a hold of that. This in the bottom of this package here, there's these little metal offsets.
Okay.
See if you can see that. Those things slip on the bottom ring of your propane tank because it needs to elevate the tank just a little bit, because I think the bulb comes too close to the ground for this to fit under there without touching. So, but it gives you what you need. You'd have to have at least 3 of those on a tank, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 8 of them in there, so you could put 4 of them on 2 tanks. Get the tank up high enough to elevate that where it doesn't touch. But I looked at the app, and it's really cool because the app wants you to make sure that guy's centered properly, and it can sense if it's centered properly somehow or another. So you move it and look at it on the app, you got to line this little green dot up in a circle. It looks like it's really precise, and I'm real curious as to how well that works. And I'm gonna put that on. I've got 2 propane cylinders here, and I need to buy a 3rd one. I've got 2 propane cylinders that both of them are at their 12-year mark, and I took one of them to Lowe's and traded it in for a Rhino refill. I hate buying. I don't get those 75% full refills. I take mine to a filling station and get them filled up, but I didn't want to have to drop the money to buy a $39 tank. But this, I guess, guys, this can be our gadget for the week. I try to talk about a gadget every week, and so yeah, this week it's a propane cylinder monitor. It says accurately measures level of LP. Never run out of fuel unexpectedly. Bluetooth signal updates, monitor or smart device. Download the free app. The app probably requires the Wi-Fi bridge. I don't know. So there it is. And I know, Tom, you review a lot of stuff also that's not just grills and grilling equipment. What in the last 6 months, what's the best, one of the coolest things you've done a review on your YouTube channel that had nothing to do with grilling?
Oh man, I think I would have to say some of the Bauer cordless tools from Harbor Freight.
I saw that.
Yeah, I have fallen in love with the Bauer cordless, and I'm in the trades, and I'm a Milwaukee guy, and boy, I'll tell you what, Bauer, their batteries are awesome, and their equipment, I can't say nothing bad about them. They're just for the price, man. I'll tell you what, and I get a lot of crap about it. You're using Bauer, and I said, yeah. Next week
we got another on-screen question there for you.
Well, I'm an old construction worker. So what they do with old construction workers is they turn them into safety guys. So that's what I do. I'm a construction safety professional. Yeah. And that's what I do for a living. When your knees get bad and you can't do what you used to do it by trade, I was a mason and a concrete finisher. But after a whole bunch of years, your knees and your body just can't do it anymore. So then they turn you into a safety guy. I've been doing that for over 10 years now. Yeah,
Anthony, when Tom's knees get bad, he comes to people like me. I'm an X-ray tech. I work in a local hospital, so I'm going to X-ray Tom's knees and find out that he's got what's called degenerative joint disease. And I'm gonna, or the doctor that's going to read my X-rays is going to say, Tom, you need to go see an orthopedic specialist, and they're going to tell you how much it's going to cost to get the titanium in your knee that you need to keep you going for another 25 years.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm an X-ray tech. How many grills do you have? There's an on-screen question, Tom. Do you know how many grills you have?
I don't count. I don't count. There's, you got to remember, I've got this place here that's probably got 25 or so. Plus, there's another 10 in the house. I keep anything that's new and not used. I got my Smoky Joe collection in the house. But my wife's retired, and we have a place in Florida, and I have in the Lanai in Florida. There's another collection there. Then my son in Minnesota, Brian Horsman, check him out at Mad Horse Barbecue. He's got a whole bunch of my grills because every time we go see him, I bring something to make some more room here. So he's got a bunch of mine up there. So
he checked in. He checked in the comments. If he is still with us, make sure Brian post the link to your YouTube channel in the comments here on the screen where I can bring it up on screen if you're still with me. I saw him early in our live stream. He checked in. I saw him there. I think I saw him there. I could be mistaken, but I thought I saw him post something.
Yeah, it's Mad Horse Barbecue at YouTube.
Okay, so yeah, check him out. Well, we are at I try to keep this at around an hour every week, so we're at that. Tom, I appreciate you coming on with me. And like I said, I'd love to have you on again sometime.
Love to.
And talk about other grill stuff. But yeah, tonight I wanted to get somebody else's feedback on this Kettle Joe and see and mainly to help me get focused on how I need to look at this grill, because it's hard having experience from the Kettle side, which is kind of old for me now. It's been a while. And then having experience on the Kamado side, I'm trying to figure out which pair of glasses I need to be wearing when I try to look at this grill and evaluate it. So there it is. Tanya went and found the link to the YouTube channel for your son's YouTube channel, and she's posted it here on the screen. My wife is my executive producer. She's sitting here in the background running the comment board and making sure we see the things we need to see. So we're going to call it a week. Tom, I appreciate you being on with me. Tanya, thank you back there she doesn't have her camera on, or I'd throw her up here with us, but thanks for doing all you do. And guys, we will see you here same time next week.
Thanks for having me on, John. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for being here.